Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Excuse me, y'all. I'm on the men's, not 100 though, but I'm on the men's. I'm trying to talk more in a calmer voice so that it doesn't, jiggle my vocal cords and loosen up. Anyway, I don't want to hear that. Um, Today's daily recap is for Friday, February 17th, 2023. Friday, February 17th. Okay, so pretty good episode today. Pretty good, pretty good. We have Phyllis was in almost every scene today, almost, right? We have Stark coming up to Victor, which was stupid. And Victor's like, "What are you doing coming up to me? And why aren't you in jail?" And he goes, "Because I didn't steal your jewelry." But then again, you know that. And Victor's just looking at him. And he goes, "Well, enlighten me." He goes, "Jack and Diane stole that jewelry and framed me for it. I think we can talk and do a meeting of the minds." And Victor's like, "Nope, no reason for a meeting, no reason to talk. By the way, don't approach none of my family." Right? And Stark's just looking like, "Oh, please. Yeah, I've got bigger fish to fry than you, Victor Newman." Right? So Stark then um he's heading to society. We didn't know that at the time, but he's heading to society. Phyllis walks into society and sees Daniel, Lucy, and Heather having breakfast. But before Phyllis got there, Lucy's on her phone, got her earbuds in, and she's just not paying attention to anybody. And Daniel's like, "Lucy, would you like me to butter and jam up a biscuit for you?" Lucy didn't hear nothing. So Heather's looking at her. She tapped her. "Lucy, Lucy, your father wants to know, do you want a biscuit?" And Lucy goes, because she took her earbud out to hear Heather. Then she put it back in and took a biscuit and put it on her plate. And Daniel said, "Well, okay, I guess, right?" And Heather looks at him. He goes, "Look, there's no," he goes, "she's in a different mood than when she left last night." And Heather says she's processing a lot, but you know what? That is no excuse to be rude. None. And so Daniel goes, but wait, you know what? My time is so limited with her. Don't, like, look, let's not make a big deal. I want this breakfast to go smoothly. And so Heather's just like, "Well, okay, but there's no there's no excuse for disrespect." You could tell Heather has a firmer hand, right? And so Phyllis walks up like, "Whoa, look at my handiwork. Look at my handiwork. This happened because of me." And so Daniel just looks up at her. So Phyllis is like, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming to Genoa City? We could have rode on the plane back from Portugal together." And then Phyllis leans down into Heather and says, "Oh, you probably saw a press release on Daniel and you thought it's best for you to come. You ought to come so you could, be a family." And Daniel's like, "What? Oh, hey, okay. No, no, no. You're not even reading the room." Meaning this don't look like happy family, breakfast, right? And she goes, "What? Huh?" And he goes, "This this is not what you think. Like I said, read the room." You can see Lucy, right? And so she's like what? Huh. It's still all about Phyllis in her head. I got them here. It's all good. See, it's me. Yeah. And so she goes, "Hi, Lucy." And Lucy kind of looks up because she kind of gets in her ear. And she goes, oh, hey, Phyllis. And so she goes, puts her earbud back in her ear. And Heather goes, oh, no, excuse me, that's grandma. And Phyllis goes, no, 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 it's Phyllis. She was right. I guess Phyllis doesn't want any of her kids to call her grandma. Well, but look, does Diane? Because Diane is Gigi. She's my Gigi. Anyway. So Phyllis says, I'm just saying. And I think that's when she leant down and talked to Heather about, you must have heard Daniel's about his press release, read it. And then, so Heather kind of looks up and Daniel goes, oh, okay. Lunch is over. Breakfast is over. I'll walk you guys back to the hotel, And Phyllis is like, wait, hey, like what, huh? And so Heather goes, yes, Lucy, come on, let's go. And so Heather's like, well, how long are you going to be in town? And so she goes, well, we're leaving, pretty much right away, but we are going to stop and we're going to go by, because she goes, oh, Lucy, maybe we're going to have to get you together with Summer. And so Heather goes, well, that would be for me and Daniel to decide. We're going to make a quick stop to see Paul and Christine because they're dying. Well, my dad and Christine, because they're dying to see me and Lucy. And then we're heading back. Wait, what? So you made an appointment to see Christine and you didn't even call me to make an appointment to see me? Heather just looks at her and Daniel goes, that's it. Let's go. So he ushers them right by her, right? And Phyllis is kind of like, I'm thinking, not to mention you just saw them, Phyllis. You just saw them in Portugal. And you even said it didn't go well. Even didn't go too well with Lucy either. And Lucy's showing it ain't too well. Hey, Phyllis. Right? So they go back to, it shows them walking down the hallway of the Grand Phoenix. And Lucy still is on her phone. And Daniel may have asked her a question. And so Heather looks at her and said, Lucy, your father's talking to you. Yeah. And so Heather says, you know what? I have to get a few things from the room. You stay here with your father because I'm not going to deal with a petulant teenager right now. And she goes, and I'll be back. So she looks at Lucy and she goes, and I'll take that. And she took her cell phone, right? She's like, take that. And Lucy's like, huh? And Heather puts it in her back pocket. So Lucy takes her earbuds out, puts them in the case, like here. And so she goes into the room to talk to Daniel, and it's a bit awkward. And Daniel's trying to have conversation with her. And now that she doesn't have her phone to bury her head in, she's got to talk to him, which was a good idea not to let her have her phone. Well, for one, her being rude like that, she wouldn't have had a phone. Period. We got a no phones at the table deal. Okay? Because you don't know how to act. So anyway, he's trying to tell her, oh, I like your bracelet. And is that but I thought your favorite color was pink. And so she looked at him. My favorite color hasn't been pink since I was 7. And he's like, oh, now mind you, he was living with her way back then for years since she changed her favorite color. He didn't even notice, right? So he goes, oh, okay. So is blue your favorite color now? And she goes, no, it's whatever she said. I don't know what she said. Teal. She didn't say teal, but teal. Could have been teal, pink. Teal, orange. Who cares? And so he goes, oh, okay. So then why blue? And she goes, because it's your favorite color. And he looked and she said, unless you've changed it. And he goes, no, blue is my favorite color. Right? And so now he comes and he sits next to her and he's talking to her. And she was just saying how difficult it had been, you know. And when they had to move, she bought it. I think she said right when she got to Portugal or right as they were moving. She said, because it reminded me of you, not how you were when we left Savannah, but how you used to be. And he looked and she said, you know, it's been hard. She goes, difficult. At boarding school, the kids were, you know, they talk about their mothers and their fathers. And he looked at her and he goes, and you couldn't talk about me, huh? And she had her head down. And he's like, she goes, no, but I could talk about, I have a famous grandfather, Danny Romalotti. He's a famous rock star. So, and I have a lawyer. My mom is a successful lawyer. So that helped, you know, it really helped. She said, but it wasn't, I didn't have you to talk about. And so then she just talked and she says, you know, this helped me think of you. And so she took it off and she said, here. And he goes, you're giving it to me? And she said, yes, because the next time, because she asked him, she goes, did you ever, I mean, why did you not think of me, you know, back then? And he goes, because all I thought about was myself. She goes, he goes, I'm so sorry. He goes, I didn't think about you or Heather, the people who love me the most. All I did was wallow in my own self-pity. And the only person I could think about was me. And that was so wrong. I am in a different place now. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. So then she goes, she wants to give it to him. And he goes, well, why? She goes, because the next time you start feeling down, I want you to look at this and perhaps you won't forget that you have a daughter. Now, that was a powerful statement to me. That kind of touched my heart. I was like, wow. It's horrible when a child just feels their parents don't even care about them or think about them. And they're living in the same house. It's harder when they're apart, but living in the same house, you feel like they just don't care. But see, that's how she felt. And he knew it. He had told Phyllis and Lily he had done irreparable damage, well, horrible damage to Heather and Lucy. He treated them very badly. He probably ignored Lucy altogether and was a little abusive to Heather. Let's be real. Let's definitely be real. So anyway, that was a touching scene and it left it there. We also have Adam showing up to Victor or just sitting down with Victor at the coffee house, telling him he quit Jabot, and Victor was happy. He goes, yeah, you know what, you were right. Wasn't a good fit for me. He goes, I wanted you to live up to your potential. You are brilliant. You have a brilliant business mind, selling lipsticks for God's sake and perfumes, that's beneath you, right? And so he goes, okay. He goes, I found out about your plan, you know, you're trying to sabotage me. He said, but what's your end game, Dad? You don't start a plan without an end in mind. You must have some kind of end game. Why did you want me away from Jabot so bad? And he goes, because I want you to be with your family. I want you to work with your family, with our company. And so Adam says, oh, really? Okay. What is some kind of side by, you know, devalued? No. Person, no, I'm not going to do that. And so he goes, you know what? You know what'll make it right? You know what'll make me return to the family fold? And Victor said, what? He goes, give me Victoria's job. Victor looked at him, and I thought, doggone well, he's not going to do that. He didn't give you, look, you had Victoria's job, and as soon as she came back with the Ashler situation, he snatched it from you and gave it right back to her. He's not about to give you Victoria's job right now, Adam. And Adam knows that. He's just throwing that out there to see where the old man is coming from, right? So that was an interesting kind of tit for tat, as you will, a little tit for tat there. So then we also have, this was the good part. We got to the good part. The good part is Jeremy Stark. No. Before Jeremy Stark, Diane and Jack walk into society because, mind you, Daniel and family have left. Phyllis is just sitting at the bar. Jack and Diane come in holding hands, hand in hand. When have you seen people holding hands on the soaps? Just holding hands, walk like they just, so in love, top of the world, coming in society. And Phyllis looks over from the bar and she goes, well, isn't that rich? And Diane says, yes, Phyllis, Jack and I are together. As a matter of fact, Jack asked me to move in with him. So Phyllis goes, yeah. Rich. And she puts the phone in her purse, picks up her purse. She goes, now, you said I committed a cardinal sin throwing me and your relationship in Diane's face. Yet she's throwing your relationship into my face. And what? What's going to happen? Oh, it's okay, Jack, right? Cardinal sin for me. But he goes, it's two different things. Diane didn't try to orchestrate, use me. I am right here, and yes, we are together. So it's different. And Phyllis is like, no, your whole thing is orchestrated, Jack, and it's orchestrated by Diane. You just don't realize it and don't see it. So she walks out the front door, and Diane's like, so Diane sits down and she goes, was I wrong? Was I doing was I throwing our relationship up into her face? Now she knew she was, but was I? And he goes, no, it was fine. You were fine. You were, I was right here, and Phyllis was going to find out soon enough. Okay, and I'm thinking, look how you justifying that, even though Phyllis was like completely over the top. She's looking at Jack saying, I'm not trying to prove any kind of point to Diane, Jack. I'm not. Got him up in the bed, tricked him up there. Then all of a sudden, after they do, she got to get dressed and go back downstairs. She goes downstairs, unbuttons her top, pushes her boobs up, tells Diane, yeah, Jack and I just had sex upstairs. He can't get enough of me. And yes, they had her being ridiculously stupid. She was. And she's yelling at Diane, like in her hotel lobby, in her own place of establishment. It was ridiculous, right? No comparison, really. And I'm not a Diane fan, but Phyllis just can't be her own. She can't help but be her own worst enemy. So as she's walking out, Stark walks past her, but he was looking. No, he glanced at her. If he glanced at her, I don't know that he even glanced at her. I think he was busy looking through those glass panes, walking into society. And she stops and she looks. Or he did say something to her, like, hey, Phyllis, or whatever. And she's just looking at him. And he walks in and he checks his coat in with the receptionist girl. And he walks over to Diane and Jack. And Jack's like, and Diane's like, And he goes, hey, Jack and Diane, well, you too. You too. And Jack jumps up. What are you doing out of jail? And Diane says, did you break out of jail? And Jeremy says, no, I didn't break out of jail. That would be kind of foolish of me to break out of jail and come here, right? No, I have excellent attorneys, and they got me out of those trumped up charges where you two framed me on. And Diane's just looking. And Jack's standing next to Stark. What do you want, Stark? What do you want? He goes, well, for one thing, you know what I want? He said, because conveniently, the money that you gave me ended up right back in your bank account. That's the way you designed it, right? Yeah. He says, and I love, he goes, look, Stark says, excuse me. Stark says, look, your knight in shining armor. Or he goes, look, you're her knight in shining armor. He said, there was a time when I was that for her. And she looked at him. She goes, you're nothing but a criminal and this and that. And he just looked at Diane and he goes, you know, Diane, he goes, you bested me once and now you bested me twice. That's unusual. He goes, but it won't happen again. And he looked at her and Jack and he said, I'll be seeing you too. And he turns and he walks away. Now, Jack wasn't listening, but I heard it. Diane, you bested me once, and now you bested me twice. Jack knows about the jewelry besting, but he's not thinking, well, Diane, what was the first, how did you best him the first time? Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I think it's going to be so good when it comes out that Diane was the mastermind with the money laundering and Stark was her errand boy. And Stark took the fall for her, which is the way, like we've said all along, when he called her to that restaurant, said, they're on my tail, they're on my tail. Get out of here, be far away. And he protected her. That's going to be such karma for Jack, such poetic justice for him and Kyle. So Stark walks back out and Phyllis is still standing there. She was looking at the whole thing. He goes, did you get a good view from the sideline? And she goes, what you do? He goes, you were watching the whole thing. He goes, why be a bystander when you and I, he goes, I recognize you. He goes, you and I, we are a lot alike. He says, you live for the game, and so do I. He says, that's why we need to team up. And so she goes, you're just delusional. And she walks away. And I'm thinking, nah, you protesting, but you couldn't walk away yourself. You had to see what was happening. You had to see reactions. Because she goes, what is your game? What is your plans? And he's like looking at her, go, look, you don't want to throw in or you don't. You can watch from the sidelines. So we already know, especially when Diane threw her and Jack's relationship up into Phyllis's face. We already know good and well she's going to end up, her and Jeremy are going to be teaming up together. Because Jeremy told Jack and Diane, oh, I'm going to be staying here in Genoa City for a long time. Now, part of the story that don't match, everybody, Stark came to get his only $250,000. That's all Diane had of his. But yet Stark has enough money to have on retainer excellent lawyers. How's that working? I don't see how that equates realistically, right? That's because them excellent attorneys are feds, right? On the case. That's what that is. There were no attorneys needed. He's got immunity because he's trying to bring down the big boss. So maybe Jack and Diane will have cells right next to each other. That would be really good. So anyway, let's go to Comic Corner. Comic Corner. Brooklyn said Danny's sister Gina Roma and Maggie Johnson, the mother figure for the Mamie Johnson, the mother figure for the Abbotts, Lena Love, the celebrity journey, Leanna Love, the celebrity journalist, and Nina Webster. Y&R will be celebrating their 50th anniversary. Yeah, and I think Nina's the only one that's still on there, right? Because I think Mamie, they killed her character a while ago. Drew's Aunt Mamie. Drew and Olivia, or maybe that was their mama, Mamie. Because, yeah, mama or aunt. I can't remember everybody. No, I was a mama. Because Drew was so embarrassed that Mamie was a maid, mammy to the Abbotts. She couldn't stand it when she first came to Genoa City. Libby says Tucker's chill reactions to all the slings and arrows tossed at him continue to be the most amusing part of the show. Can't wait to see if Tucker/Jeremy get together to cause mayhem. Likewise for Phyllis and Jeremy. I think the actor playing Lucy is actually in her 20s, might be. Take away the diminutive posture and look at her again. The other actors, I think, are much older than they play. Allie, she's in her 30s. Yeah, she could be. Definitely in her 30s. Most of them are older, playing younger. Except for sometimes they will get actual, you could tell the little actor playing Johnny is young. So we'll see. I'm gonna look at Young and the Restless fandom, and I'm gonna see if they say how old she is, or I'm gonna look her up. Keep getting better, Daily Recap Lady, and all you fans, subscribe. I'm definitely trying to get better. You can see I'm still struggling a bit, but okay, you know what? I'll take baby steps. LaShanta says Daniel was so rude to Phyllis, like Lucy was to him. And Lucy said, "Hey, Phyllis, not grandma," shaking my head. What kind of shaking my head? What kind? Talk to grown-ups like that. Well, you could tell Phyllis told her, "Call me Phyllis. Don't call me grandma." Phyllis don't want to be called grandma. So that was a Phyllis problem, not teaching the kids, call me my Phil. You don't want to be called grandma, but not Phyllis. Call me Phil or something. I don't know, like Dee Dee. So then we said, but made a point about Summer. Got all of this smoke for her mom, but no voice with Kyle. Summer actually does have a voice with Kyle in the end. You can see right now who's having the upper hand is her, because she's got his number. And she says, if I just go ahead and let this go this easy, oh, no, in the future, you're going to feel like it opens the door to you doing this again. No. And she goes, yeah, it does. Because you did it. I mean, just like you did it now. So she's playing a little harder to get. And she said, no, I still need to take some time with this. And he's just, she doesn't have to beg anyone. Oh, no. Phyllis should have kept her hotel. That is so true. She doesn't have to beg anyone. They're going to regret how they treated her. She is the reason Kyle and Summer are together and the reason Jack beat drugs. So for them to treat her like this is crazy. She may have done those great things, but Phyllis is a wrecking ball, and she will wreck your relationship and then bring out the fact that she brought you together in the first place. It's like this. Yes, she's the reason she busted out Tara Locke and Sally with the Summer situation. But everything she was just over the top doing about Diane could have potentially caused the biggest divide between Summer and Kyle and broken them up. So what good was bringing them back together again? Phyllis she has to just, anyway. Let's see, we've got Brooke Lynn says Ashley will help Tucker's company because she likes him. She'll buy his debt. You know what? That's an interesting comment, Brooklyn. I saw which is next week on the Young and the Restless, right? Victoria telling Victor someone beat them to the punch with buying Tucker's debt, right? And when she said that, I thought, who would have beat him to the punch? Devon wasn't going to come to his father's rescue because I don't even think Devon knows about the debt. He and Tucker aren't talking. And it dawned on me when I saw that scene. Remember, Ashley told Allie, getting the upper hand, asserting dominance. Ashley's got money, right? Enough to buy out Tucker's debt. I'll bet you any amount of money that Ashley is going to now be the owner of Tucker's debt. Won't that be interesting? They might do a quick curvy up on us, right? That's interesting. Then that would mean Tucker wasn't a lot of debt, right? And did need it, but I don't know. What is it going to mean? So we've got some questions, some interesting things. If they choose to write a good story, they have enough material to write a really good, intriguing story for us with Ashley and Tucker and Adam, because let Adam come and run McCall Unlimited. Absolutely. Even though Ashley can't stand Adam, Ashley's not about to stop being a chemist to run Tucker's company. She's not going to do that. But she's his backer. So look, what about you? When she said, what about you funding a company for me with your deep pockets? Because she had told him when he goes, I'll build a company or I'll create a company for you. And Ashley said, I have my own money. I can create my own company. Remember, Ashley created My Beauty when she and Jack were feuding, and Ashley took all her patents and licenses that John Abbott left to her and took them with her company, and it crippled Javo, crippled them, right? Oh yeah, Ashley can play dirty. She could do some things, right? So anyway, we had a pretty good episode. It's given me a reason to hope for the future. Oh, look, I hope for the future from Bold and Beautiful, right? Gave me a reason to hope for the future of the Young and the Restless next week. So I'll be back next week. I'll be back on Monday, hopefully sounding better, everybody. I'm feeling better, but hopefully sounding better.